New Year, everybody, and welcome. We do have a flag in the room and people present, so Gunther, if you would please lead us off in the pledge.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Jen, would you please do a roll call for us?
I certainly will. And for the folks, we do have a quorum in person and online. So if you are attending online, please state the city and state that you're attending the meeting from for this evening, please. Arnold?
Yeah, Walled Lake, Michigan.
Easter?
Yes, Walled Lake, Michigan.
Gunther?
Here.
Rundell?
Here, Walled Lake, Michigan.
Wolfson?
Here.
Thank you. We do have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Any request for agenda changes? I don't. Anyone?
I motion to excuse Mr. O'Rourke.
All right. Actually, I don't believe we do, because he's an alternate.
Oh.
Yeah, that's okay. So good thinking. So I don't think we need that, but well, thank you.
I think if he misses without excuse, even if he's an alternate.
Oh, all right. Van, is that the case? Alternates as well? Missing without excuse?
No, alternates do not have to attend meetings unless they're asked to attend and fill in for someone who's missing.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. Then we'll move to approval of minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes as written.
Gunther, second.
All right. Jen, do we want to roll call this, or would just say just approve the minutes?
Whichever you'd like to do, Chairman.
Yeah. Everyone in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any extra communications?
There was, in regards to the case this evening, which was emailed to you, but nothing that is outside of the case for this evening.
Okay. All right. So we have it all in email.
Yes, and those in attendance have it hard copy.
Great. Okay. Unfinished business. I don't believe we have any. Didn't see any. And this will bring us down to the new business. So that would be Eddie Hassano, and that is case number 202301. Jen, would you read that in, please?
Yes, sir. Public hearing for case 2023-01. Applicant is Eddie Hassano. The location is for 136 East Walled Lake Drive. The request is for a non-use variance. Applicant proposes installing an internally illuminated projecting sign that exceeds 8 square feet in area, which would require variances from the following sections of the zoning ordinance. Section 51-20.08.14D and Section 51-20.08.17A.
All right, thank you. Let's see, Mr. Sano or Eddie, if we could, and then anybody representing you, would you like to present your case?
Yes, good evening, Chairman. I am here on my own, and I have all the facts, and I am presenting my case on my own to you and other board members here.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Well, what we're basically asking for here, Happy New Year to all, by the way, and wish all is well with everyone, happy, healthy. What we're proposing here is just mainly a fair sign in our district, one that just gets the same professional use as the other businesses in the district. You know, there are some, even in my district, there are some lit up signs even down the road at a restaurant that is mainly lit up with, I would say, 10 bulbs. And we just want the same exact thing, a fair, signage, where we're trying to advertise to Pontiac Trail and, as you know, East Walled Lake Drive. But Pontiac Trail is where all the business, is coming from. Basically, what we're doing is just, it's the same sign that we had grandfathered in. It's just a foot bigger, and it's illuminated. It is 100 watts per box, which is, I would say, the same equivalent, or actually less than the same equivalent as the street sign out in front of the Barrels of Wine, which is now going to be ZBA as Eddie's Walled Lake Liquor, by the way. And that's why it's an illuminated sign. The picture will be lit up, but nothing else will be lit up outside of that picture. It will not have any neon. It will not have any other exterior lighting that is shining off the sign and, glimmering anywhere to affect anything.
Would the light be on during operational hours or 24/7?
No, it'll be just operational hours, actually from dusk till about midnight, so mainly not even, well, depending in the summertime, probably 3, 4 hours, 5 hours. In the wintertime, as you know, it gets darker at 5 o'clock, so, 5 probably till 12. That's about it.
Okay.
Any questions or?
Okay, Eddie, you're good? I'll open it up to the board. Jamie started off with questions. Anyone, Gunther, anything?
Yeah, I got a question. Ed,
Yeah.
this sign, it's 1 foot in length longer than what your original one was?
Yes, sir.
I mean, so even, and it is projected out from the building?
It's just like, it's projected out the same amount as the other sign was.
Okay. So if you tilted it a little bit, 6 inches in each side, and made it project further, you would meet the requirement of what you had before. But I'm not saying that that's a need, but it's essentially exactly the same with I could tweak it and make it the same length by making it a little bit further protruded forward.
Well,
And I'm not saying that's necessary, but that would, 6 inches on each side isn't going to amount to much in an angle. Have you already purchased the sign, or?
I have
have.
purchased the sign already.
Okay,
Yep.
that's good.
I mean, I'm sorry, if we left it at the same angle, the other sign, that's what we're doing. We're
Yeah.
actually leaving it as the other sign, the angle was exact, the same dimensions
Yeah.
as the other sign. We're not going out any further, and we're not going in any further. It's the same size going out.
Yeah, but the ordinance is asking for the same length. And you're bigger than what the ordinance is by how much?
I would say,
52 feet.
yes,
2 feet.
yep,
And you're 1 foot bigger than your old sign.
yes.
Okay.
Mr. Gunther, just to provide you some additional information, the existing sign was legally nonconforming because it was established prior to our current definitions for what a projecting sign is and the size requirements. So currently, our definition for a projecting sign is any sign on a wall that extends more than 12 inches from that wall. The proposed sign is going to be at least 2 feet off of the wall, so therefore that's why it's called a projecting sign. It's not a wall-mounted sign. And then, so our current ordinance requires that projecting signs be a maximum of the 8 square foot. And that's because, generally speaking, projecting signs are typically 90 degrees from the wall surface, and then they're more of a like they call a blade or a hanging sign. so that way people walking along a sidewalk could read the sign as it is. So that's the intent of the size requirement, and then that's the reason for this particular sign being classified as a projecting sign. So, and the issue also is the fact that while the sign previously was legally non-conforming, because we give the property owners the benefit of doubt and presume that it was installed legally at the time of creation, the issue is whenever a legally non-conforming sign is taken down, well, as you know, then they are intended to comply with current ordinances.
Yeah, I understand.
That's all.
Yeah, so Mario, also, this is kind of a different case, if we would, because it's not in the true spirit of a protruding sign. This is a varied angle, if you will. It is protruding, it is away from the face of the building, but not by, shall we say, hanger or 2 foot by 4 foot, shingle, if you will, out in front of a business.
Right. And then also one other issue, the reason typically when we measure the sign face of a wall sign or a back-to-back projecting sign is when the surfaces of the signage area are more than 12 inches apart, then they are considered two independent signs. Normally whenever we have a ground monument sign or a wall sign or a projecting sign with two faces, we only count one of them because they're close. When both surfaces are less than the 12 inches apart, they're considered one sign and we only count 1 square footage. And so when they separate that way, for example, if this was a ground monument sign that wanted visibility from two street sides, and it was more than 12 inches, so it was like a V shape, if you will, then we count both surfaces as the area of the sign, just for your clarification.
Thank you.
We're saying 8 square feet.
If this sign didn't protrude from the building, I don't have it in front of me. What do you have, Mario? What would the dimension be on non-protruding?
So for a non-protruding sign, mainly being a wall sign, as we are define it, they would be allowed, let me get the specific dimension for you, 1 second.
Thank you.
But it is based on the width of the building, and then wall signs would be allowed.
Is it 1 foot for every 3 foot?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it's 3 or 1.5. Let me try and.
I think it's 1 foot for every 3 foot. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Too much to keep in my head. Yeah, I don't have my book in front of me, unfortunately.
They're allowed 2 square feet for every linear foot of building frontage.
Okay.
So, for example, if the building frontage was 30 feet, I believe, then they're allowed up to 60. And then,
I think the building is 40.
yeah. So, and then the maximum sign area in the C3 district is 64 square foot. So at this time, they're allowed a 64 square foot wall sign.
Ours is 60.
Okay.
What's the size of the individual panels? I know they're 10 by whatever. What is it? I can't see it on the plan.
10 by 40, Bill.
Inches.
10 feet by 40 inches.
Okay.
10 by 40, I think. It's at 48. It's hard to...
40.
3'4".
Yep.
So 3.8.
So individually, it's, the question I have is, if Eddie wanted to make it probably as viewable as possible, and he laid that sign, one of them, against the wall over the doors, took the second one and put it on the Pontiac Trail side of the same part of the roof, he might meet the definition you just laid out.
Oh, board member Phil, what we were trying to do is get a certain traffic basis. When you angle that sign like that, I mean, we could lay both signs separately on both sides of the building, and that I don't think would be an issue, but what we're trying to do is simulate the old sign and just try to get the same traffic and sight that we would with the old sign. That's the reasoning behind this diagram, or this sign.
My view of the angle from Pontiac Trail, I don't know if I would see the sign very much from Pontiac Trail coming across from East Lake. I'm just wondering if, being on that other wall face, the
On the side?
west wall face, have one of them on that side and one over the doors, you would meet the sign requirement.
Right, I
We
understand.
just determined what is it, 64 square feet?
Right.
You would be
And I
perfect.
honestly don't have a problem with that. The only issue that I would have with that is I have condo association next to me, and there are, residents living there, and I don't want to, put a sign there that would affect them, or I don't think they would like to see a sign on the side of the building. But, that's just me having respect for my neighbors,
10,
And one other issue, just to let you know,
9.3.
board members, is that the zoning ordinance only allows wall signs on parts of the building fronting on a road. So the west elevation fronts on a private parking lot, so signage is not allowed actually on that west elevation.
Okay. Didn't know that.
Now, what about separating the two signs instead of conforming both of them as one sign? If we wanted to put maybe an inch separation on the gap, would that satisfy?
Count as a non-contiguous sign. But still be, Eddie, you're talking still protruding out from the building?
Correct, Chairman.
Then that would actually technically be, well, it's 12 inches from each other, but even 6 inches, I mean, technically that'd be two different signs. So then you'd need another variance because we're only allowed one projecting sign, so it'd be.
Never mind that.
A second one, yeah, so, we don't want to go there.
One becomes two.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
Right. Disregard.
I have a question. Is the main issue that it's because it stands out from the building? Because
That-
already at 10 times 3.5, 3.3 is 33 feet, square feet for each sign. So that by itself exceeds the 8 square feet. But if it were flat against the building, it would meet the criteria?
Yeah, if the sign was only 12 inches away from the building, it would be considered a wall sign, and they could have 64 square feet.
And right now, it's how far from the building?
Even though the diagram says it's 2 inches, based on geometry, it should project at least 4 feet. Excuse me, the application states 24 inches. Based on geometry, it would probably is going to extend 4 feet off of the wall,
Okay.
based on those dimensions of length and width.
So if he made this angle in further, within 12, a foot, that would meet the criteria?
That would meet the criteria for a wall sign.
Yeah.
The only thing you'd have to do then is just shrink it down, because as you did the math, right now, both sign faces are 66.6 square foot.
Right, yeah.
So if you just lopped off, some of the height for two, you'd get a 64 square foot sign. 12 inches, I'm not sure from a visibility standpoint how that is.
Right.
In terms of function, but at the same time,
Do we have any other signs, something like that? And I think most of them are wall signs. I
Yeah.
looked around a bunch of them, I mean, they're huge.
Huge. Hank's Bistro is humongous.
Yeah.
But they don't stick out.
Correct, yep.
Okay.
And they're not
Some are lit up, some are
illuminated.
not lit up, and,
Yeah. Well, Hank's is lit, and it's pretty big.
Yeah.
I mean, the marijuana
The Italian
dispensary
bakery?
is got an entire side of its wall painted with a sign.
Yeah,
Right.
painted. And the interesting
And I
part
think it's
about
lit
that
up
is
all the time with Christmas lights. But I understand that, to the board, I understand the purpose of having a downtown district kind of signage thing that where you're trying to get uniformity everywhere, but it's not like it's there right now, right? We don't have that downtown, like, old school feel. And really, Eddie, you said this is what, 1 foot bigger than,
1 foot, yes.
1
correct,
foot bigger
from
than
the
what it
older
was
sign.
before, and I think we survived pretty well with what was there before.
Right.
Yeah.
I've improved, everything in the whole front of the building, everything in the back of the building, everything inside of the building. So I'm just trying to, do well and make things look better and prettier, to say.
You did a beautiful job on it.
Yeah, very good job, Ed.
Thank you, everyone.
And from my perspective, if we force him to go flat, he's not going to get people to see his sign as they're coming.
Defeats the,
It's not so much Pontiac Trail, but you turn off Pontiac Trail on East Lake Drive, and you wouldn't even know it's there until you passed it. Right? So, from one standpoint, I think making him conform to be a wall sign would be a hardship for him trying to attract customers. If we made it stick out, I don't think it would be too small if it was a hanging sign,
yes.
right? And I'm sort of leaning to where we've got him a restrictive hardship that the other buildings in the area don't necessarily conform to right now, right?
Well, in terms of projecting signs, they do. The projecting signs they have, I believe there's a hair salon on the north side of Walled Lake Drive that has a 9 square foot non-illuminated projecting sign. But then there are some other signs that are internally illuminated. They're wall signs, but I believe they're legally non-conforming.
Right.
Nino's has been there forever.
Right,
So,
same thing with, yeah.
Hangs, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, the others, again, as Eddie said, but, he's made a lot of improvements and, to look at the best thing to drive traffic, to his business, as every businessman's want, right? And in the new signs, and, you've gone through, you brought up the greenhouse.
yeah,
And the new ones that have been placed, those are painted wall signs that are, well, one is anyway downward illuminated. The greenhouse, for some reason, has their lights turned to the sky.
oh, I actually like lower.
I noticed that when I was looking at it. So, but anyway, they have the same lights, the downlit. So, but at the same time, those are 30-foot wall murals.
Right.
So it's, they're driving traffic. And so, my point here is the intent, that the large signs, the painted ones that are down, are all meant to drive traffic, right? So, and 1 foot off the old, it is smaller, actually, if you, it can't be smaller in footprint, I know, but in visual aesthetic, because it's going to the top of the building in a narrower area and not hanging down as the old barrel of wine sign did at on the building. So he has compacted to the top. He's just spread it across the facade.
Correct.
Eddie, is that a fair statement?
Yes, correct. Well, I did that intentionally. I didn't want to block those wonderful, expensive windows that have brought everybody's property values up.
I really don't have any other questions, Jason.
I don't have anything left.
But ask for
I don't
audience-
either.
Audience participation, if we've got.
Yeah, that's where I'm going next. Anybody in the audience?
There is no physical member in the audience, and there are none online with their hand raised.
All right. Now let's see here. Let me go to the bottom of this. Sorry, I don't have a printed packet. I do, but I don't. So I'm on the computer. Bear with me 1 second. Van, I'm looking for your resolutions is where I'm going next.
We've got it in our package.
Yeah, Gunther, do you have the resolution?
Yep, so guess I'll just go forward and make the motion. Motion with respect to Resolution 2023-01. You're the first one of the year. With respect to strict compliance with the ordinance, I believe it's a slightly unnecessary burdensome to make them comply with the strict interpretation of whether it's a wall sign or a projected sign. And to try and comply by flattening it out, it would do his business a disservice to have people recognize that the facility's there. And I do believe the work he's done and adding a nice new sign is a substantial justice to the property owners around him.
Thank you, sir.
A lesser variance requested would not give him relief for that visual ability to see the sign from both directions. The need for the variance is kind of due to that specific thing, whereas he can't do anything on the side of the building. Therefore, and when you look at some of the other stuff in the same zoning district, while they may be legally non-conforming because they were put up a long time ago, I don't think it changes the look of downtown. And I'm not going to say it's self-created because it's basically what he had before. Right? He's just doing the same thing. So with respect to that, I'd motion that we approve that resolution based on the statements I just made.
This is Arnold, I'll second.
Second it. Jennifer?
Okay.
Roll call.
Please.
Gunther,
Yes.
Rundell,
Yes.
Arnold,
Yes.
Easter.
Yes.
Okay, so that was for Resolution 2023-01. So when you get ready to do, that was only for the one variance, correct? City Attorney?
Correct. Right, he's got
So-
a second request for a variance from the external illumination requirement. He wants to have it an internally illuminated sign.
Okay, so we got past that. Do we have any questions on the internal versus external illumination?
No.
No?
None from me. Sorry.
So I'd like to make a motion on Resolution 2023-02. With respect to all the variance questions, I think it's basically the same as what we had for the last description. And all the other properties in his zone have backlit illuminated signs. Whether they're hanging or not hanging is a point of contention, but I don't see a difference. And therefore, I motion that we approve 2023-02. Second, anyone?
This is Arnold, I'll second.
All right. Thank you. Jen, roll call, please.
Let's see. Rundell,
Yes.
Gunther,
Yes.
Arnold,
Yes.
Easter.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We've already proceeded to follow with each. So far as anything left on the agenda,
Can we have planning take a look at the ordinances for this particular thing? Because it seems like we're cutting hairs on a signage, whether it's a hanging sign or a non-hanging sign or a wall sign, or it just seems a little silly.
We are doing a top to bottom revision of the sign ordinance. It's taking a little longer than we anticipated, but it is a project. We're going to look at everything.
Good.
And there'll be drafts that go before the Planning Commission to address the substantive changes, if it's, going to be the sizes of signs, the locations, the types, the manner of illumination, and so on and so forth. So that's coming.
At 25% off for school teachers at the Bazanzos.
Besides, yeah.
Just one other thing, I wanted to thank Mr. Chairman, chair members, city attorney, and staff. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Ed.
Yep. So that is all. I just need, there's no new business, no more audience participation, any discussion. Motion to adjourn.
I move, we adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, we need a second. Good enough. Aye.
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 So adjourned.